Welcome everyone to the IoT and IP podcast. I'm your host, Claudia Tapia, and in the company of exceptional experts in IP, business, and technology, we will explore the Internet of Things and uncover strategies for maximizing the benefits of intellectual property rights. In today's episode, we will be delving into the world of sensors, in particular, those dedicated to monitoring air quality indoors. Joining us to share insights is Øyvind Birkenes. Øyvind is the CEO of a small but highly innovative company called Airthings. Øyvind, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Claudia. It's going to be nice.
It will, definitely. Let's start talking about the air quality, because I understand your company is taking care of improving the quality of the air and you have a lot of measurements. Could you elaborate a bit on that?
Yeah, so Airthings is a global technology company that are creating radon and indoor air quality monitors for homeowners, for businesses and professionals. And we also provide solutions to optimize energy consumption in buildings. So typically our customers can save 20 to 30% of the energy consumption by utilizing our solutions, but it's also helping people to breathe healthier and better air. What's interesting is that the air has much more impact on our health, well-being, and also on energy consumption than people think. We spend 90% of our time indoors, and the air we breathe has such a big impact on our health, well-being, on our sleep. The air indoors is much more polluted than outdoor air, in average 2 to 5 times more. So this is what we are all about, to make the invisible visible through our sensors and software solutions.
That's a great slogan, to make the invisible visible.
Yes.
And I think the measurements that you conduct are so important. We know that a lot of humidity can contribute to mold growth and dust mites, and that these can trigger allergies. We also know that air quality can affect cognitive function and productivity. It can also save energy, and because you can have a much more effective use of it. I can really understand why companies might be interested in having a better air quality. And one of the things I like the most is that you can detect problems. So I was thinking how often I was moving flats when I came to Munich. And it can easily happen that you move to a new flat and the former tenant has painted the walls with a cheap paint, including these volatile organic compounds. And we know after a certain amount of those, they can really pose health risk. They evaporate into the air, and if you don't detect them, this can be bringing serious damage to your body. So it's great that you are creating these healthier living and working environments.
Yeah, we see many examples of that. Like you say, with volatile organic compounds coming from paint or new furniture, can create headaches and like make you nauseous. But what's more dramatic is that there's research now showing that these things over time can also be causing like asthma attacks. We also monitor all kinds of pollutions in the air. So like whatever there is in the air, more or less, we can detect and tell you what's going on and what you can do about it. So for example, many homes have high level of radon gas, which is the leading cause of lung cancer. So you want to make sure that, okay, if you have that, you want to know how they deal with this, how they get this away. And that's really what we're helping our customers, our homeowners, but also building owners to cope with. And we can detect mold risk, and we can also monitor your air in your bedroom to ensure you get a better sleep. So there's a range of things that we monitor to help both our consumers, but also building owners on operating their homes or buildings in a more efficient and better and more healthier way.
How does this work?
So we have built products that are connected to the internet, so Internet of Things type solution. So all our devices if you have them in your home or in a commercial building or a classroom, they will send the data to the cloud. And we do that in various ways. It can be with Bluetooth or Wi-Fi for homeowners. And then for our commercial solutions in commercial and public buildings, it goes via cellular. So we want to get all the data to the cloud, and there we do analytics on the data, because, for example, we can see in a classroom that, okay, now there's a high level of virus risk. So what we're doing is mounting sensors, battery-operated sensors in homes or in buildings, in office buildings, in classrooms. They all send the data to the cloud. We do cloud analytics, and then we have nice dashboards or mobile apps that you utilize to get guidance on what's going on, what's wrong, make sure we are in compliance with any local rules or regulations. So and also help you to save energy in buildings, for example. So it's all about getting the data from the sensors. We monitor a range of things in the sensors. It's all battery operated. Send the data to the cloud, do analytics, and then provide really nice user experiences for our customers. Yeah, so in people's homes, what we do is to really make what we said, the invisible visible, to ensure that you understand what's going on in the building, if there's any unhealthy things in your home. And then we give you advice on how to cope with it. Many times it's very simple things. Okay, maybe you need to open a window, maybe you need to open a door, maybe you need to start a vent, maybe you need a humidifier or an air purifier. But you don't really know if you don't monitor. So that's what we're helping with you, to guide you through it and come with solutions. Yeah, and for office buildings, it's a bit different. So there we help facility managers to get an overview of what's happening in all their buildings, so they get consistent data from all their buildings. And they usually monitor that with our dashboard and then take manual actions to improve. If they want to improve air quality or the ventilation rate, or maybe they see there's energy leakage. But what we also can do is to connect our data into the building management system, so we can close the loop and automatically control the HVAC and ventilation, the heating and cooling of the building.
Interesting. You're talking about the analytics, and this you receive that from the sensors, sending it to data to the cloud, and then working on those analytics to then being shared to the users. And the first that comes to my mind is the GDPR, which stands for the General Data Protection Regulation, and it's a comprehensive data privacy and security regulation. And since its entry into force, it has clearly strengthened that protection for all the individuals within the EU, so that individuals like you and me can have greater control over the personal data. But at the same time, this has presented some challenges for the companies. How have you dealt with this, and regarding the analytics or any other issues that you had at your company?
Yeah, this is a very good question, and it's a very interesting. And for us, the success of Airthings is that we have happy customers, and customers trust us. For us, we have been like very on top of GDPR, having specialized lawyers to help us and guide us through this, to ensure that we do this in a good way. So when we monitor your place, you own your data. You can delete the data if you want. You can download all the data. We don't share your data with anyone else. But we still want to provide good analytics for you, so you can see what's going on. So we can process your data, but we cannot share your data with others.
You were mentioning before the technology that you are using in order to transfer the information. You were mentioning Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and cellular standards, I assume from 2G, 3G, 4G, maybe in the future, or now 5G. So how are you dealing with the intellectual property rights that cover these technologies?
Yeah, so these are handled a bit in different ways. So when it comes to Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, they have alliances that give you the right to utilize this technology without infringing any patents related to those type of technologies. So with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, it's quite simple. As long as you are part of that alliance, you have to pay a yearly fee to be part of the Bluetooth or Bluetooth SIG or the Wi-Fi alliance. When it comes to cellular, what we utilize there is to buy modules from partners that provide this type of protection. So we are utilizing a 5G it's a 5G technology. It's LTE Cat M1 that we utilize today with a fallback to 2G. And we utilize chipsets there that where we have those rights to utilize those chipsets.
Mm-hmm. What about the technology or the inventions, innovation that you create? How are you protecting it?
Yes, so it's done in several ways. So we have, for example, very special radon sensor technology where we had particle physicists that worked at CERN, and they came up with this idea on how to monitor for radon gas. So there we have very specialized technology that we have patented. We also have patented some of our algorithms that we use for example, this occupancy and people counting based on air quality and other patents. But we also utilize a lot of trade secrets. So a lot of our core IP sits in our products as firmware or software, and we handle them as trade secrets where we do encryption very carefully. Nobody, even in the factory, can read our code and find our code. It's deeply encrypted inside our products or inside the cloud.
And how do you decide which IP to use and when not to file any kind of IPR or not even trade secrets?
Sometimes we have to encourage more, but typically we see that when we get these ideas, people are very like, okay, this is something we can patent and are very proud about it. So I think you need to have that kind of mentality and culture in the company that you're open for new ideas and you will support these patent applications.
I was thinking in one company I was working that they had in the cafeteria the inventor of the month. And there was a picture of the engineer and the name. And I recall once I was walking in the cafeteria and I saw this man that I really didn't know because that was a very large company. And I saw him and say, "Hey, you are the inventor of the month. Congratulations." And I could see he was so happy. And I think sometimes it's not so much about money, but very often about recognition and really encouraging this kind of collaboration mentality, culture, and being proud of being part of the company and its development.
Yeah, it's very, very important. And the way we do it, because we are not a huge enterprise with thousands of people, we are about 140 people, and we have all hands meetings typically every week or every second week. And there's a great place to share stories like that of new inventions, of engineers telling their own stories and also speaking from their heart. They don't need to be fancy marketing presentation, but really engineers just saying what they're working on and how and present in their own way, which I think everybody in our company loves listening to those stories.
I bet they do. What about counterfeiting?
Yes, so we sell our products more or less globally, but what we've seen is that on Amazon especially, we've seen a lot of counterfeit products. So what we have done is to also create some design patents for some of our products. And then we have a process when we see these counterfeit products, and they don't necessarily need to look exactly the same, but very similar. They copy our design, but then we see for example, the sensor technology doesn't really work very well. So what we do is to order these products, we test them in our lab, we write a report, and then we have some lawyers in the US that help us with this process, and we create kind of cease and desist letters and send to this. And we also work very closely with Amazon. We are the leading company in the category we work in when it comes to this indoor air quality monitoring. So they also listen to us when we see things like this, and also support us typically when they see other vendors are coming in with something that's clearly a copy.
And how long does it take from the time that you identify infringement and until you manage to take them down?
Yeah, so it can take time. It depends a bit. So sometimes it can take like 3 to 6 months, while other times it can go a bit faster. It's also small companies, sometimes Chinese companies or from other places, and sometimes it's hard to find the right contacts. And once one is down, another will pop up. So you have to be really on it. But sometimes we can do it faster, and sometimes it's slower. We also have examples where we have seen radon detectors that has been very similar looking products as us, but they don't work at all. It's like a random detector. It just provides a random number. And this is dangerous, for example, because radon is the leading cause of lung cancer for those that don't smoke. So it's very serious. So there we also got support. That was one example in Canada where we filed a report to the Canadian government, and they did a recall of all the products, and they were not allowed to sell that more in the Canadian market.
Yeah, and if I think about a few months, and even when it takes time, if I compare it to what will happen if you not have any IP.
So we are investing in patents, in design patents, also in trademarks, and we registered Airthings in all relevant countries. So we take this very, very seriously. And when we, for example, with trademarks, when we see things comes up that something is not right, and then we'll also take actions.
I heard that there was an attempt to file X things. So basically,
yeah, there was a company that sounded very much like Airthings, but was written a little bit differently, and we're also selling air quality monitors. And we through quite some back and forth, and took some months of work, but we were able to settle that case. So then it's not going to be two companies with almost the same name selling similar type of products.
Another example how trademarks was important. What would you say to companies that think IP is too expensive? I'm going to focus my money in other areas.
Yeah, so it is expensive, and when you are a small company, a startup or a scale up, you need to be careful, because you can't afford to spend all your time if you're going to like create a business and revenue with creating patents and do IP protection. You have to really focus on speed and creating products, and that's part of how we protect ourselves as well, is speed. So once somebody trying to copy us, then we already come with the next version, and with even better services, even better software, even better hardware. So speed is very important. But then on the other hand, I think it's very critical to also file for patents on key inventions, build that up, do design patents if you are selling in the consumer market, for example, do trademarks if you're building a brand. It's very important. So you have to do some of those investments, and you have to kind of go through that, and of course prioritize, because it's expensive, but to ignore it, it's not going to work well in the long term.
Good advice. I hope more follow it. Let's go back to IP strategy. Could you tell us how has been your path into developing this strategy?
Yes, it's been a bit learning by doing. It was particle physicist that came up with this kind of groundbreaking idea with an electronic monitor. That started kind of our patent portfolio, because that was something those inventors patented right away. Then we worked well with some patent attorneys and learned the process and kind of created a company policy and process around it that we follow up. But then it's not really that something you can push top down. You need the right engineers, the right innovators with the right mindsets that also want to do it. And I think to hire those people and get the right innovative culture in the company is really the way to go, and make them want to do it.
So paying attention also in the hiring process,
Yes,
to identify those individuals.
absolutely. Because it's probably a very few percentage of the people that are filing most of the patents. So you need to work well with them, encourage them, and ensure that they have exciting time at work as well, because they are very talented people. And then when it comes to trademarks, I think that was like very clear when we wanted to build a global brand, that we have to protect our trademark. But then you can also decide, okay, do you want to trademark everything? Or like we decided to trademark Airthings, but not our product names. For example, we have a product name called, for example, View Plus. But then we always ensure when we talk about our product, we say Airthings View Plus. Because we are releasing new products every year. If we had to trademark all these products, it would be very expensive.
You mentioned before that you're a leading company in this sector. Have you been sued?
So there has been instances of patent trolls coming after us. There has been some instances of this trademark disputes. But these things, because we have had things in Ordnung, we have good partners that help us manage this. That has gone well for us. But I think it's very important to have the right partners to support you in these type of processes.
You mentioned patent trolls. I'm not sure how many people will know this concept. So these are non-practicing entities, meaning entities that they don't produce anything, but their business model is to litigate. And I think the difference, in my opinion, between the normal non-entities, no practicing entities, like would be a research institute, and the patent trolls is maybe this kind of abuse of the system, meaning very often having weak patents and being very aggressive. So when you're talking about these patent trolls, where implementation patents, where patents, cellular standard patents, like what was asked about?
Yeah, we've seen some like more on sensor technology or also on the way things the system works. So more like overall system. And it seems very scary when it happens, but then when you also respond very seriously and you go through it and you see, okay, there's not really actually any good hold in this at all. And then typically it fades out very quickly.
You know, one of the reason why I'm asking is because I hear often, especially decision makers, that they think that small and medium enterprises are being attacked using patents essential to cellular standards. But when I talk to companies like yours, I hear this is not the case. It's rather the implementation patents that they aim to enforce. And as you said, very often more than threatening than really having something to back up. Yes. In those parts. So it's great that you found the partners to support you in that path. When you're talking about partners, are you talking about collaborators, or are you talking about consultants, or both?
So there's, it can be consultants, but also patent attorney companies.
Makes absolutely sense. Øyvind, this has been really, really good. I think we have learned so much about how sensors work, what the IP is involved in these scenarios. I think you have convinced at least a large part of the audience that they need quickly to buy a sensor because of health issues. But before we wrap up, could you share a career lesson you've learned along the way?
Yeah, so and I was thinking on this, and one thing that I built in my career, I built several organizations, very with and organizations with lots of engineers and professionals. And one thing that I learned is that there's something very powerful about hiring people from around the world and bringing them together and setting very ambitious goals. So in my earlier days becoming a manager, I was very much kind of detailed oriented and okay, we need to do this and that. But what I learned is that it's much more powerful to utilize goal-based leadership. And I truly believe in that, where you as a leader focus on the goals and providing support, while the teams will have to work out on how to meet those goals. And giving the teams autonomy to find the best paths to achieve these goals, it will empower the team members, foster creativity, and drives a lot of innovation. And also, what I've seen is that bringing people from around the world, having a diverse and global mindset in the organization, has been a really key to the success we see at Airthings. We have more than 35 nationalities here and moved a lot of people from around the world here to Oslo. But we would never have been successful selling around the world and being so successful outside of Norway if we didn't have this global mindset. And engineers and professionals, they love to work in this type of diverse environment.
That's a great advice. My team, we are right now 7, and with me 8 different nationalities. And I've seen sometimes can be at the beginning more challenging because there are maybe more misunderstandings at the beginning, and that's why it's so important from the very beginning create this atmosphere where people can speak up when they need to, and that these kind of mini misunderstandings don't grow up in something big, but rather that we approach it as a very interesting way of seeing things that we haven't considered before and inspire from each other and build things which are out of the box. So,
yes, that's very key, and make sure people get to know each other well. It's not just about hard work, it's also about getting to know each other. Simple things, having lunches, having social activities. I think that also foster even more innovation and good culture, good company culture.
Unfortunately, that's all for today. A big thank you to our guest, Øyvind Birkenes, and to all our listeners. Join us next time on the IoT and IP podcast for more exciting insights into the world of technology, innovation, and intellectual property. As always, I look forward to your comments, questions, and suggestions. You can reach us on LinkedIn at Claudia-Tapia or per email at ipwithclaudiatapia@hotmail.com. Connected, we go further. Thank you.